This video is sponsored by the Society of Antiquaries of Scotland. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Samhain, or at least it is while I'm recording this video. Samhain is an ancient festival celebrated at this time of year in Scotland, Ireland, the Isle of Man, parts of Wales, and in other Celtic cultures. I need to build a fairgrounds at Spawn so that we can celebrate Samhain, so let me do that while I tell you all about what Samhain is. Samhain marks the end of autumn and the beginning of winter, and it's the time of year when the harvest comes in. And remember how in my video about sheilings I said that the herds were taken up the hill at the start of summer? Well, Samhain is when we bring them back down into town. I'm not going to do that with my cows because they're too many and I just got them up the hill, so they're staying up this hill. But in Scotland, traditionally, this time of year, all of the herds are coming down from the mountains. Scotland was generally full of pastoral cultures throughout history, and what that means, what pastoral cultures means, pastoral cultures are ones that focus on raising livestock instead of necessarily growing crops. It doesn't mean that they don't grow crops, just like it doesn't mean that people who focus on growing crops don't also have cows or pigs or something. It's just that the main focus of their food production, the main source of food that they have, is livestock like cattle or pigs or goats or sheep. You get the idea. We don't have lots of good farming land in Scotland. We do have some good farming land, but compared to a lot of other countries, we really don't have that much. Most of our land is much better for grazing animals, which is why we still have more sheep than people here in Scotland. Samhain generally falls on November 1st, but traditionally in Celtic cultures, the day starts at sunset the night before. So Samhain begins at sunset on October 31st. But there's also some evidence for flexibility, so herds would be brought down sometime around this time of the year, but not necessarily on the 31st of October. It would basically be whenever the hills started getting cold enough that staying up there was kind of a problem, or when the herds had already eaten all of the grass on the hill. You don't really want to keep your herd on a hill with minimal grass when there's plenty of grass in town. So you might move down a few days earlier, you might move down a few days later. So Samhain, depending on the community, it could be starting the evening of October 31st, or it could start the evening of November 5th, could start the evening of October 21st. It really just depends on the community and the weather and when things work out agriculturally for them. So while today, like nowadays, Samhain falls on November 1st, traditionally communities could celebrate it basically around this time of year whenever they brought the herds in. And you might have caught something that I said earlier. I said Samhain marks the start of winter. Celtic cultures generally don't use the solstice or the equinox to start a season like we do in modern English-speaking societies today, at least. So in our current year, right, we look at the summer solstice, that marks the start of summer. We look at the autumnal equinox, that marks the start of fall in September. We look at the winter solstice in December 21st, and that marks the start of winter in our current modern Scottish society. But traditionally, the winter solstice marked the middle of the winter. And these are called solar seasons. So solar seasons basically are seasons where the patterns of the sun, where it's, the equinoxes and the solstices, where those are in the middle of the season rather than the start of the season. And this is something that Celtic cultures have done for centuries. So when I say traditionally, this is an established tradition, guys. It's not super commonly known anymore, but it's definitely a big part of Scottish history. Samhain is actually so old that we don't know exactly when it originated in this part of the world. A lot of non-Christian traditions in Scotland weren't written down until after Christianity had already arrived, and even then many of those traditions weren't recorded until the 17th century or later. But there are Neolithic passage tombs in Ireland that align with where the sun rises on Samhain, like the Mound of Hostages at the Hill of Tara. So the festival in some form may be positively ancient in this part of the world. And also, if it's in this part of the world in the Neolithic, then technically it's not Celtic, because the Celts hadn't arrived yet in this part of the world. So it could be even more ancient than the Celtic cultures in this part of the world. The biggest thing to know about Samhain is that it's what we call a liminal festival, or a festival where boundaries blur. So let's talk about liminality for a hot second. This is going to get a little bit in the weeds, but I promise you it's going to be worth it. I'm going to give you a technical wordy definition first, and then I'm going to give you the TLDR version. Okay, so don't worry, we're going to break it down. So liminality, at least when it comes to studying people and cultures and such, is the ambiguity or otherness that happens during a transition. So let's use an easy example of when you might be kind of in a liminal phase of your life, right? An easy example is graduation. After you take your final exams and you get your final grades for whatever grade you're graduating from, or whatever, if it's primary school, if it's secondary school, or uni, or whatever, as soon as you get your notice that you are eligible to graduate, you are done with school or uni or all of the requirements for graduation, but you haven't graduated yet. So you're not a student anymore because you've finished the requirements for being a student, but because you haven't yet graduated, you're in that transition phase. Once your graduation ceremony finishes and you throw your caps in the air or do whatever else is traditional in your part of the world for graduation, only then have you graduated. The liminal part of all of that is the person that you are from the moment you meet the requirements to graduate until the person you are when you throw that cap in the air. In that time, you're not a student anymore, but you're not a graduate either. That's liminality. It's this kind of in-between. Liminality is in-betweenness. Another really big example of liminality, or easy example, is airports. Once you arrive at the airport, you are not yet traveling because you haven't gotten on a plane yet, but you're in the airport and you're stuck there until your plane leaves. Airports become this weird kind of liminal space where transitions are happening. You are going to be moving from one place to the next, but you're not actually there yet. Airports, another really good example of liminality. Liminality is all about transition and ambiguity. So I gave you the wordy technical definition. Here's the TLDR, and also a much easier way of thinking about it, in my opinion. You know when people say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey? Liminality is the journey. Liminality is the friends we made along the way. No, seriously, that's what liminality is. It's the friends we made along the way. Liminality is a big deal in folklore, and it's a big deal at Samhain. Lots of people or deities or creatures in mythology and folklore across the world can only be killed in liminal spaces or liminal time. The Welsh hero Llŷ cannot be killed during the day or night, cannot be killed indoors or outdoors, cannot be killed while he's riding or walking, can't be killed while wearing or not wearing clothing, and he can't be killed by any weapon that was quote-unquote lawfully made. In fact, he can only be killed at dusk while wrapped in a net with one foot on a cauldron and the other on a goat, and he can only be killed with a spear that's been made over the course of a year while everybody else in town has been at church. Thank you, Wales, for this gem of a folk hero. Can you imagine that as a Minecraft mob? The weather could be so much worse, you guys. Also, slight tangent, but it's worth it, I promise. You know that scene in Lord of the Rings where Glorfindel prophesied that the Witch King of Angmar can't be killed by the hand of man, and then Merry stabs him with an enchanted dagger, and then Éowyn, who's disguised as a man, deals the final blow by burying her sword in his face, and he's all, "No living man may hinder me," and she's all, "I am no man," and Merry isn't a man either because he's a hobbit? Liminality. Also, the Witch King and the other Nazgul are also liminal beings because they're stuck between the living world and the world of the dead. So if you ever forget what liminality is, just remember the Witch King of Angmar and you're good to go. Pro tips from ArchaeoPlays. So how does liminality play into Samhain? Because at Samhain, the border between the world of the living and the other world, or the world of spirits and other beings, blurs. That means that the spirits of the dead or other entities can cross over into the world of the living and interact with us here. These spirits are often seen as needing to be appeased in some way so that they don't cause any harm, or at least They need to be shown an awful lot of respect and hospitality because hospitality is a big deal in Scottish culture. So it was traditional, for example, to leave a place set at the table for the ancestors for any meals at Samhain, just in case they decided to join you. There are quite a few traditions at Samhain, and we actually had a server event where we did most of them, which is why I was building this whole fairgrounds. So let me tell you what they are and show you some clips. First off, we have guising. Guising is a Scottish tradition of dressing up in costumes on Samhain or Halloween and going door to door to ask for food or sweets and such. It's very similar to trick-or-treating, and these days it basically means the same thing. So I've got a costume on. I'm a Pictish warrior. In, like, relatively chill garb, mind. But still, I actually based this off of some of the art for Carved in Stone, which is a system-neutral setting guide for things like Dungeons and Dragons that I've been helping to create, which lets you play as a character in early medieval Scotland. There was only so much detail I could do in Minecraft, but I'm really happy with how it turned out, so much so that I might actually keep this skin for the rest of the season. Also, the artwork is by Ver, who is also working on Carved in Stone, and I've linked to their website in the description down below, as well as a link to the Carved in Stone Kickstarter, just in case that's something of interest to you guys. The rest of the server also had costumes, so see what you can spot throughout the video. And the next tradition is offerings. As I said, places are left at the table for the spirits of your ancestors, but people also make offerings to other spirits or gods or deities or entities to keep them from getting angry or annoyed or lashing out at people. Or, as I said before, just to show good hospitality. Hospitality is a big thing in Scottish culture, both being a good host and being a good guest. So it's best to show that same hospitality to the spirits on Samhain. I decided it'd be cool to see everyone's offerings together and to hang out while we did them, so I set up some small tables at the fairgrounds for everyone to decorate as they wished. Okay, can we petition Minecraft to let us put different color candles in the same square?
I know.
I want to mix my candle colors. And for some of these, we have 14 of everything. So 14 barrels, 14 chairs, 14 altars. Not everybody could make it to the server event. We have 14 active players on the server, but not everybody could make it to the event. So we're going to leave them for people to have a chance to decorate things when they do get a chance to do it, if they like. Yeah. There's a rogue cookieing happening.
I wondered what just popped into my inventory.
I love that it's named as well. It's just question mark.
No.
That's great. I'm not sure that I should give a questionable cookie to the gods. Not sure how they would appreciate that. Also, I don't have more item frames, or space. So I will keep the said questionable cookie. We were also carving a lot of pumpkins while decorating our altars, and also even some melons. The mod that we used is called Kaupen's Carved Pumpkins by KaupenJoe, who even made a custom version of the mod for our server that lets us put in our own custom designs. I've linked to the mod in the description down below, as well as KaupenJoe's YouTube channel where he teaches you how to mod for Minecraft, just in case any of you want to make your own mods. So major thanks again to KaupenJoe. These pumpkins turned out so well. Let me show you guys some of the different designs. So Dragon made this one that's like a wither skelly one that glows purple. And then this sort of weird funky face is one of the ones that's in the mod, like the public version of the mod. That's a regular carved pumpkin. I've put another thing in front of this carved pumpkin. Hold on. Okay, that's also a silly face carved pumpkin. Hold on. Okay. There are ones... Yeah. This one is a Neolithic Scottish design. I'm getting very meta with my pumpkins. But there may be a future video where we're starting to actually build some Neolithic stuff in Scotland, like a specific site and such. So this is a design. This one's a trowel. I think... Was it Lazugad? Did you do the trowel, I think?
Yeah,
and
I did a couple.
And then this one is Harold's YouTube logo, like channel logo. But it also looks like a face because it's H_H, so it's great.
It does look like a face.
It looks like a
Yeah,
face.
that's what I said to Dragon yesterday. I was saying it looks like a face.
It's also the shameless self-promotion. So.
Yes, which is perfectly
It was
valid.
fun the other day when the mobs were wearing the pumpkins and it was like self-promotion by a zombie.
There's also a music note pumpkin that Lazugad designed. Pumpkins, as you may have known, are not native to Europe. They're actually native to the Americas, and they didn't arrive in Europe until probably the 16th century. That's kind of the first documented evidence we have of them in Europe. So traditionally, instead of pumpkins, we carved turnips in Scotland, but larger turnips, so like a Swede, or I think Americans call them a rutabaga, maybe? So that sort of type of turnip. I don't know if you've ever tried to carve a turnip, but I have, and my goodness, was it difficult. Pumpkins are way easier to carve, which is why people tend to carve those these days. It's like orders of magnitude easier. But because turnips are difficult to carve, the angles of the knife are a bit more rigid, or I guess like difficult to maneuver. So the angles become a bit sharper or a bit more blocky. And the turnip also browns and kind of wilts a bit differently to a pumpkin. So the end result of a carved turnip, it looks a lot like a human skull or like a mummified head, rather than a turnip. People would often carry carved turnips with them as they went guising, or anytime they left the house on Samhain really, because with a candle inside, it provides light for you to walk by, but also the lantern was thought to ward off evil spirits, so you get the light and the protection all in one. I also mentioned bonfires. Bonfires are usually lit at Samhain because they're said to cleanse people, livestock, the area around them, houses, etc., of harmful influences. So basically bad or mean spirits, but also harmful things that aren't spirits. It basically cleanses everything so you don't have to worry. In some places, the bonfire was so special that people would put out the fires in their own homes and relight them from the Samhain bonfire. Bonfires at Samhain are often communal as well, so each household might contribute some fuel to the fire, and they're often lit together. So I thought we'd do that on Archaeo SMP. I would say, everybody, we're gonna light it together. That's why you have a flint and steel. I mean, for the candles as well, but like pick a campfire. We're gonna leave some for people who aren't here to be able to light as well. But basically pick a campfire and light it. If it so happens that you pick the same campfire as somebody else, then pick a different one and hope for the best. Right? Ready? 3. Hold on, wait. I'm gonna put shaders on. Hold on. Okay.
I've been running shaders.
Right.
Oh, mine are still loading.
Okay.
All right.
Everybody's shaders ready?
This looks awesome.
It looks so good with shaders. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, well, maybe.
Don't stand in the bonfire.
I mean,
oh my god, phantoms.
There is a bit of a...
Coming to the party.
That is a lot of phantoms.
Yeah, we
summoned phantoms.
We summoned phantoms so that we can banish them.
Yep. Oh my god, there's so many.
There are so... Who of you has not slept in forever?
Probably
Me,
all
sure.
of us.
No, I've slept.
I have not.
I sleep religiously.
Since you've logged in today?
Yes.
Okay, because I've only seen
Oh, sorry.
Harold sleeping.
That was... No, I ran to the campsite the last time it turned night.
Got it. That one. Somebody did.
So some of these are probably mine. Most of these are probably Clara's or Moon's.
Yeah, I was there pure morning, so some are definitely mine.
Well, cool. Now, I should say I don't know if this entire area is mob-proof. I've tried to make it relatively mob-proof.
I made it put more. I put a bit more like jack-o'-lantern around. So
yeah. But
it looks so cool.
It looks so good with shaders. I love it. It's so good. Bonfires are also sometimes associated with witches, with young men going door to door saying "Gi's a peat to burn the witches," which basically translates as "give us some peat to burn the witches." This is Scots again. But the practice of lighting a bonfire at Samhain is almost certainly much older than the more modern concept of witches, and certainly the more modern ideas of burning witches. And speaking of witches, one of the biggest places I get my Scottish history and archaeology knowledge from is the Society of Antiquaries of Scotland, which is the sponsor of today's video. The Society is a membership organisation which has actively supported the study and enjoyment of Scotland's past for over 240 years. If you want to keep up to date with the latest news and resources and events, I've put the sign up link to the Society's newsletter in the description down below, as well as a link to their free article about the Witches' Sabbath in Scotland. The Society also has an upcoming hybrid talk in December, both online and in person, about using folklore and oral history to study the past. In case you couldn't tell, this entire episode leans heavily on oral history and folklore, so if you're interested in that sort of thing, definitely sign up for that event. The Society does a lot of work to understand Scotland's past and to safeguard it for the future. And it's not just archaeologists and historians either, it's people from all walks of life. I highly recommend checking them out and signing up to their e-newsletter, and thanks again to the Society of Antiquaries of Scotland for sponsoring today's episode. I also like to have a feast with family and friends at Samhain, and this is another tradition that's been common in some parts for a very long time. And since we've got a bunch of carved pumpkins and a bunch of food, and Samhain is all about protection from spirits and or appeasing more hostile things, what better way to celebrate Samhain than by taking on the Ender Dragon?
Oh, I didn't bring glass.
What do we need glass for?
I have a stack of
You get
bombs.
the dragon breath.
You have the spec. Yay!
Ah, okay, alright. Scaffolding makes more sense. This is,
You got that
this
one,
is
okay.
also where everyone finds out how bad I am at using weapons in Minecraft. Just kind of in general.
Mama's getting that one. Did I get it? Yeah, we'll go with yeah.
Way too low.
I can't believe I got that one.
Oh, that one's gotten. Okay, alright. Wait. Hold on.
Yep.
What do we think?
Is that all of them?
Is it?
No.
Hold on, let me check.
Nope.
That
There's
would have
this
been
one.
super fast if that was the case.
Which?
There you go.
Oh, it's coming down.
Nice, nice shot.
Don't get kicked by the dragon. Ow.
Ah, get back down here.
Oh, that's a low flight.
Dragon's like, why are you all on me? Hello? Usually there's like one person coming. Why is it like 15 people on me?
Look,
So-
we've realized that strength in numbers is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Coming down.
Oh,
Oh wow!
Nice.
That's such a
Girl.
cool angle. I don't think I've
Yeah,
ever
that was
seen
so
it.
cool.
That was so fast.
Yeah.
XP.
Let's go.
Well done.
Alright. Shall we get the egg real quick?
Yes. We then went end raiding, and it took forever to find a city with an elytra. Seriously, it must have been like 6 or 7, maybe even 8 end cities at least, before we found even one with a ship. And similar to last season, once we had a couple of elytra in the group, a few people went off to find more, while the rest of us hung out and built an oasis on a random end island in the middle of nowhere that we're probably never going to visit ever again. Oh, and I almost forgot, as you watch us build this, divination is another big part of Samhain, though I didn't really have us do any on the server because there are a lot of different traditions, and a lot of them have to do with things like marriage and death, and so I felt like maybe not for a server event. People might place stones around the bonfire, so 1 stone for every person, and when everyone returns in the morning, if any of the stones had disappeared, it was said that that person wouldn't survive the year. Apple bobbing is also a divination practice at Samhain, and a much cheerier one. It doesn't involve death. Anyone who successfully bobs an apple was said to find marriage soon if they weren't married already. And then there's also a very fun and adorable tradition where 2 hazelnuts are placed by the fire, one representing the person doing the asking and one representing the person that they fancy. And if the hazelnuts jump away from the fire, then the relationship was not meant to be. But if they jump towards the fire, then the 2 of you would make a great couple. And I think that's adorable. And of course, whenever you have a group of Minecrafters stuck on an end island who have decided to build something, naturally chaos ensues.
You know, I have moss. Do we want to build an oasis?
I mean-
anybody got bone meal?
We did it last time. Do I have bone
It's
meal?
tradition
I
at
might.
this point, right?
And,
I have a large amount of oxeye daisies.
Ooh, perfect.
I
I'll
have
start.
the perfect block for decoration.
well,
Oh, you do?
there's a boat.
Scaffolding.
There you
This
go.
look,
Right.
scaffolding as decoration is fine so long as we don't have to bridge over the void with it.
I have everyone's heads in a, or most everyone's heads in a bundle.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
fun.
Oh,
Decoration.
Oh,
Minecraft.
that, yes.
That-
Yes, yes.
That is a weird one.
yes. I'm gonna just
I think I also picked, no wait, I picked one of those up. I think that's
Yeah.
everything.
I'm gonna put some people's
Dragons.
heads on
There's other
spikes.
people's heads from the server.
over
Great.
here.
You guys are having fun conversations. Can I put people's heads on spike? Oh, fun.
Look, it's an option. We're working with limited resources.
It's like, what crap did we leave in our end chest?
Exactly. Do we have more heads? More people's
There's
heads?
one.
Oh, you've
for
got
the-
several there. Okay, alright, cool. Ooh, a bogged. Let's get a bogged head in here. I'll put a shulker
Mhm.
on a pike.
Maybe we should.
Is this an out? What is this?
No, hold on.
It's just a house.
Oh, a house.
Hey, a shelter from the Enderman.
Okay.
Ah,
1, 5,
well-
6, 6, 8.
Wait, which one? The one that I was just inside? Because it's not necessarily a house anymore.
What did you do?
I just put Robert Skitch's head inside as like a shrine.
Oh, there you go, a shrine. That works too.
Yeah. Are we gonna group photo?
Picture.
Group photo time?
Picture.
Okay.
Be sure
Picture
not
time.
to look at. Oh, do we want all of our pumpkins on?
Yeah.
Maybe one with on, when without.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We close enough. We're good. All right. Hold on. Just a second. Let me do
Oops.
this. Hold on. Stay. Hold on. Let me get one with shaders. Hold on. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna go off a void. Ready? Let's see. I'm not directly east. I'm kind of like this way. Oh, it's cool. It's cool to live like in the same direction as people and see people flying around. I didn't have that last season so much because we were kind of all in a bit of a circle, and I wasn't really near anybody. So this is going to be interesting. Loading new chunks. Okay, all right. Am I? Oh. Well, I mean, I wasn't that far on the ground. That's really funny. Okay, all right. That's hilarious. This is Harold's base. I've been kind of wandering around it quite a bit in the last couple of days because he's been helping with a lot of the resources for this event. But you should definitely check out Harold.
Oop.
Excuse you. Harold arrived and punched me off. That was 100% Harold. Oh my gosh. Okay, all right. Well, we're gonna do that flight again. Anyway, this is Harold's base. So Harold does a lot of videos like I do, building archaeological things and talking about them. Harold's an archaeologist as well.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just telling them how cool of a YouTuber you are and that they should follow you, and then you punch me off of your tower.
You were peeking over the edge, and I was like, "This is too good to pass up."
Anyway, Harold's really cool and you should check him out. How cool does it look with the hill and everything from the air? My base is not terribly easily spottable around the trees. So it can be a little bit difficult to find, but I love how it looks. And you can see the Triskelias from the air too. It's really, really cool. I like it. I'm using a whole bunch of rockets, but it's fine. I'll buy more. It's all good. So yeah, oh, and there's a zombie. Well, maybe we should sleep. Well, that's it. That's Samhain for you all. I hope you enjoyed it because I certainly did. And remember that Samhain is a little flexible, so if you liked any of these traditions and you want to try them yourself, you absolutely can. It's not like too late or anything. That's all from me for today. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!